Welcome to VOCARE. I'm here at St Helens Church in Barry, Wales, part of the Archdiocese of Cardiff. I can't wait to meet Father Pat O'Gorman and find out all about his vocation and his mission here in Wales. Welcome to VOCARE, Father. Can you begin by telling us a little bit about your background? Were you, for instance, brought up in a Catholic family?
I was brought up in Catholic. I was brought up in Dublin, and I'm one of six. I'm the youngest of six children, so 3 girls and 3 boys. So that's a nice balance on that. And as I say, brought in the Catholic family. On that, yes, my parents were obviously regular church going at that time, and all our families. Just a natural thing for us, I suppose, as children to follow the example of parents and went to church, obviously, on Sunday. It was, I suppose, growing up is a bit like the air we breathe in. It was just natural to us, Catholic family life on that.
Lovely. And so did you sort of pray a lot at home as a family, and do you remember that?
Well, we did say the Rosary as a family on that, and that was, I suppose, the only formal, in a sense, prayer that you would accept. Obviously, your night prayers and your children's prayer, but we had the family Rosary and that. My mother, I suppose, like a lot of the other young women or mothers at that time, would have been going maybe to church on Monday night for the miraculous medal devotions and that. My mother and my father were that. My mother, they had their own personal devotions to Our Lady of Good Counsel and Mother Good Counsel, and so it was. It wasn't, when we say, an oppressive type of Catholic family on that. You know, it was. For us, it was quite natural thing to do, and you just followed it, and as I said, it was natural to us. Obviously, going to schools at that time would have been also have a Catholic basis and Catholic orientation. So that would be basically the early years on that.
And when you hit your teenage years, were you quite strong in your faith then, or were there perhaps other distractions coming in at all?
Not really on that, because again, the young people at that time who I would associate with were the young boys, they were people who went to church. You know, so that there wasn't that tension maybe that came a later generation on that. I suppose if we went out on a Saturday night or if we went out on we knew Sunday morning, and that was actually built into your program on that. So there wasn't a distraction in that sense in it. There wasn't on this. So that's why I would say there wasn't too much tension. So on religious wise, because I think as I say, we were all in that atmosphere that was conducive to it. Now that obviously things may have changed and changed a lot since, but at that time, that was easy on that.
And when you finished school, were you thinking about the priesthood, or did you go into something else perhaps at that point?
No, really, I suppose it was easy enough a decision for me, because I would always have that intention maybe to be a priest, you know, from childhood on that. I suppose it started like everything else. Maybe you started serving Mass, and that was quite an impression. But I think it was even more than just serving Mass. There was something that has always been there. And so therefore, as you say, when it came to leaving school, and what are you going to do? It was easy in that sense, because it was natural. Again, a procession, school, seminary, ordination. So
do you felt a sort of special call to the priesthood then?
Well, I wouldn't know if we say it was special, you know, in how we use that word special, but it was something that was always there, and something that obviously that I I suppose, at least say try, because obviously you don't know how it would unfold once you go into college, what to do, and the process itself, how that would unfold. But the desire to be priest was always there.
Wow, that's amazing. And when you were at seminary, was there perhaps a priest or a bishop or even a pope who really inspired you?
Again, I can't say that there was anyone particularly that. I think all the men in college, people, they were good people. Well, we would expect to find good people in seminary.
Yeah, definitely hope so.
But they were men, again, who were committed to what they were doing. But I think the thing is, it was within oneself, this is what I wanted to be, or what I wanted to do. So irrespective of who was around. Now, how you can define that or how you will analyze that might be something different. But I can't say that it was. I suppose you are inspired when you look at things. Going like us again, you would read things. Maybe your child, you're reading about some of the saints. The saints would impress you, or you obviously the Pope would have been always a figure that was quite an impressive figure. I suppose in a child's life, a young person's life, then you wouldn't see them regularly as you would today on television. So when you saw the photograph of Pope, that was something in those times. So that's the way it was for me. Now, other people obviously would have, maybe people were impressed by other people. But that's me, and that's how it worked out for me.
And can you tell us about your ordination? What were your thoughts on that day?
Well, that day, I can remember it well. It started off reasonably bright, and then it poured raining for the rest of the day. But I remember then, obviously, there were 12 of us that day, 12 of us, 13 actually, ordained on that day, and we gathered, and you have your procession up at the... Actually, I can't remember much from the procession to the altar, going up in that day. But I do remember it clear when we were prostrated down, the bishop were there, and the prayers going on, and it was running through my mind, this is it. It's now or never. You either could go or you could stay, but this was this defining moment. And also, I do remember on that day that this was something that was one, and that no matter what happened, that nobody could take it away from me. That this was mine, that you go to the college, you could have been dismissed from the college, you could be thrown out, anything could have, but once you were there, that nobody could take it. The only one that could damage it was oneself, known, and I suppose even if you did that, nobody could take that priesthood because it is on that. So that was an important thing. As a matter of fact, it was quite a liberating thing in that sense, that this was something obviously, I suppose we say in normal terms, if you worked for, you went towards, it had been achieved in one sense. The ordination had been achieved because you're living out the whole experience of, but that was something that nobody could take from you.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And when you were reading about the saints, was there any particular saint that really inspired you?
Again, I suppose when we were young, you'd read about maybe Saint Dominic Savio, a lot of which I forget now. But that was a young person. When we were growing up, we would have heard, of course, the three children of Fatima. I suppose Fatima would have been growing at that time, obviously not reached the proportion it has today. You would have heard that. We would have heard about Maria Goretti, and that would have been, so we would be part of that. They would have been the saints, of course. You would hear of your own Saint Patrick, Irish, and the old tradition, Saint Bridget, Irish traditional saints, and St. Francis. Those would be popular in general. There, I suppose, like the film stars, the A grades and the B grade saints, it's the lights and who constant in your, I suppose, around at that time. So that would have been on that. That would have had a little effect also.
And what mission activities do you have going on in the parish?
We have, at the moment, we're looking at various things. Obviously, this is the great age of evangelization, and it's obviously a question that confronts, I suppose, every priest and every person, I suppose, in the church today, because we're all told that we're all supposed to be evangelists. So we have been trying to make an outreach. We took one particular area in the parish last summer, and we did kind of a blitz of it. Yes, about 900 houses. We did it. It was a blitz, or 600, and knocked. You know, in that area, every house we knocked on. It wasn't, I suppose, obviously the hope to reach out and get things like that, but it was also a learning curve because it was the first time that we have done this. So we're in the process of assessing it, and then to see how we can actually build on that experience. But those who did it enjoyed it, I think, and found it a worthwhile experience. Not that I think you got many people coming. The response maybe wasn't brilliant, but I think the experience of doing it was a learning curve, and it will build, and we don't know what in the future. But it was that was one of the things. Over the years, we have done various things. We've had parish missions in, and we've invited people. We had the weekend on the Vatican Council documents on that, to build a full week on some of the documents there. We had a couple of years ago, about 3 or 4 years ago, we had a special weekend one for the women,
Yes.
one for the men, and one for the youth.
Oh, wow.
And then we had we brought them all together to find out what their experience of it, you know, what it was as a man to be, what it was to be a woman, what it was to be a young person. So that on that, and occasionally we have try to get different people in to do things. So that is what we do. We have, I suppose, normal things, which is part normal life. We have our miraculous medal every week, you know, a devotion to miraculous medal is where people can come in. The church is open all day, so if people want to come and do that devotion on the Friday, it's open up. Again, that's part of the prayer life. And of course, what is important, every week, every Tuesday, we have exposition of the Blessed Sacrament. So
there's a lot going on there.
Yeah, there's a few things going on there on that. So we do that, and as any other parish would do, we do the normal First Holy Communion, confirmation, baptism, preparation, all those things as reaching out to the people.
Wow,
and
great things to sort of help people grow in their faith.
Yes, we hope so. You know, obviously put great stress on the devotion, adoration on Tuesday. But of course, the main thing is to bring the people together to celebrate the Eucharist.
Yes.
You know, that is the very purpose, reason to bring them together. So as a community, then that we celebrate, and then having been nurtured and nourished on the Eucharist, then we can go out there. You may notice that we have 2 windows here, one behind, up there on the crucifixion.
Oh, yes.
And then we have another one, the risen Christ. And there's a purpose behind that. Right. You see, so that when you come in, if you open the door, go and look down, your eye will run and you see the crucifixion. So if people come in and look at the crucifixion, they come in sorrow. We hope when they look out and look at the resurrection, they'll go out and enjoy.
Oh, great. Yeah, I love that. That's really
so they
good.
come, you see that, come in, people they come on a Sunday, we've got our worries, we've got our anxieties, we spend time with them, and then we can go out and hope in the resurrection. So there's a purpose behind.
Oh, that's amazing. I love that.
Yeah.
That's great.
We do also things like to try to outreach is, I think it's very important that we try to outreach in social. We have been a member of what they call the UK Citizens. I don't know if you've heard of that. It's a number and a group there, and it combines all classes of people, believer and non-believer, and they try to look at social issues that are common. It's apolitical.
Yes.
Yeah, and we try to look at social issues and see how we can reach. Now, okay, one of the things that people look at, which I suppose is living wage, and look at things, how we can promote that, or things in our town. So we would see that also as an important outreach, that the church is taking place, it's involved also in the life of the town, not just we're an enclosed circle, but that we are actually reaching out on the social, I suppose, as well as a religious basis on that.
We often hear about a vocations crisis in the West. What are your ideas for bringing more men into the priesthood?
Well, the simple way, the only way it is, I think is important, I suppose, obviously one prays for that. I think about it like everybody else. I don't have the solution. I don't know. We can be slick and produce programs, and you can, advertise as society advertise, and they tell you it does pay to advertise. Maybe I don't know really that one. My own thing is that God is in heaven, he's looking down, he sees the problem.
Yes.
We pray for him, I'm sure he responds to the prayer. I think the great question is, in any of our life, if God gives us offers us something, do we take it? So the fact maybe there aren't vocations, is it that God is not giving, or that we're not being responsive?
Right.
And then if you offer a person something, no matter what you do, and they don't want it.
Yeah, of course, yeah, you've got to choose.
So I don't know, but I wouldn't be pessimistic. No. I wouldn't be pessimistic for the future, or that. It may be difficult, and the future may be hard, and what would be sad, the sad thing about it is that maybe we'll lose people that we shouldn't or could lose, but time will come, it'll come. It will come. I feel confident. Now, whether it's 10 years, 20 years, or 100 years, I believe it'll come. And I believe also, I would like to think that in 100 years' time, in this very building where we are, Mass will still be going in. But that's in the hand of divine providence. That's not in my hand. What we're doing is try to keep the community alive, keep the fire alive in the area, so that when it does happen, that they're not building from nothing. They've actually got a basis on which to build. There is a foundation there. So in the sense, what we're doing is not necessarily, or would be seen as futile. That one day something will happen.
Great.
Yeah.
And obviously being a priest comes with a lot of responsibility. How do you take time to relax and sort of find spiritual rest yourself?
Well, I suppose like most of the men, I can't say all of the men, but like most men, I like to watch a little bit of football.
Brilliant.
I find that is relaxing because you can watch it. It doesn't, in a sense, it doesn't exercise you that difficult mentally.
Yeah,
so it is relaxing. I like a good movie. I haven't been to movies now for a long time. Unfortunately, a lot of the movies on the television are not very challenging in one sense. So that is on it. And once a week we meet up a priest friend.
Oh, great, yes.
And that's it. The usual thing, I suppose, you do a little bit of reading, you do a little bit of praying, and then we have priest conference talks and things.
Oh, so that's sort of mutual support.
Yes,
supporting each other.
Yeah.
And if you could give a message to the people watching this programme today, what would that be?
Oh, my message is, I would believe, would be a message of hope, and that not to become despondent about the age. There is an awful lot going on that isn't good, but we are a people of faith, you know, and we do believe in the power of Christ, and we do believe in the power of the cross. And I would be sad. Being sad is one thing, but to be despondent or let it overwhelm you, I wouldn't let it overwhelm me. I would, my thing is, look at the future, do the best we can, and God will do the rest.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for your time, Father.
You're very welcome.
Shalom World TV coming to Europe and coming to England. That's fantastic, so that we can get the message of the good news out to people. I think many people of all ages, particularly young people, are searching. They're looking to hear a message in their language in a way that they can understand. And good Catholic media can serve that wonderful purpose of getting that news out there and encouraging and challenging people to find out a little bit more of the story of Jesus, which sadly so many people do not know or have forgotten. So it's great to hear this good news of Shalom World TV coming to the UK. May the Holy Spirit shower His blessings upon your work and your ministry in serving evangelization and the spreading of the good news of Christ.
Shalom World, God's own channel.